Hello there, a very warm welcome to the program Reflections. My name is Yusuf Nadab Usman. For those who have been following us on this program, the personality we are going to talk to this week is a personality who has been well known on this program. He was here at the other time when we tried to exhaust the much we can from his own life history, and that prompted us to come back and then see how much you can really tap again from what we left behind. And my personality is Senator Abdulahi Adamu. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's get started on that note, and then see why we stopped at that end the other time. We stopped at talking about agriculture. We were at your farm. We saw what you've been doing, the exploits and the rest of them. And then we really tried to see how viable agriculture has been, especially in this regime, with you being at the Senate and, of course, chairing the Senate Committee on Agriculture, and indeed a real farmer for that matter. Now, this issue of farming in this country has been a very important one, especially to this administration. Buhari has been up and doing on this. Your rating has been high on this. What do you think is still lacking in this whole enterprise?
In my personal opinion, and the opinions of many Nigerians like me, we are where we are with agriculture because of inconsistency in the policies that are supposed to drive agricultural production in the country. Regimes have come and gone. Each of them will come and pay some kind of homage or flowery comments about need for agriculture, need to feed ourselves and the rest of it. But when you get into what they are doing, there is little or nothing that really can say is progressing the fortunes of agriculture in the country. And since one cannot say they are at zero, each of these policies, but the fact remains that whatever little is achieved is written off by subsequent administrations. So inconsistency in the policy that is supposed to drive agriculture. The difference that this administration is making is the fact that the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has made the issue of agriculture as one of the major flanks of his administration. Buhari believes that unless and until Nigerians can feed themselves, unless until we can feed ourselves, unless and until we eat what we produce and do as much as possible to produce what we eat, until we do that, we are not there. We have not arrived. And in doing so, he has expanded the horizon to say that for this to happen, agriculture is one of the major sources of diversification or widening the scope of our economic activities. And the President is addressing it as squarely as you can imagine. And he is doing this along with the National Assembly. Okay? Policies are matched with laws so that it will be difficult for you tomorrow if there's a change of government through the democratic process. A new president will not find it easy to just turn the wheel around and say, I don't like what the social government has done. There's a law there that compels him. And so these are very concrete steps that the president has ensured that we take, and we are completely on the same page with the president on this. If you recall, from about 2020 to date, we have been faced with the problems of COVID-19 pandemic. People underestimate the effect it will have had in our capacity to produce food in this country. If not because of the measures the government took, the damage would have been really beyond one's ability to estimate. But because of the measures, though food production has suffered, agricultural production has suffered, but it would have been worse. It could have been worse. This is because the government tried the best it could to address the issues. There was problem of movement, of inputs, difficulty in the movement of labor was difficult. And as you do well know, most of our agricultural production is manual in this country. Those who can afford mechanized operation are very, very few, very, very few. And you recall that because of the COVID-19, we've had situations where there was blockade, or there were blockade in different routes for movement, public highways and what have you. There was lockdown, so that it could not even go out, to pursue whatever your callings are. And that affected also agricultural producers. So it left the country in some kind of limbo. But we thank God it didn't break us down completely. So the thing that will need to be done is being done now, and one would expect that everybody's shoulder be on the plow. One would expect very, very big boost in agricultural production in the country.
Okay, as you said, one would expect so much with these developments. And of course, we've been expecting that much really, given the fact that we have been to a large extent trying to, grow what we eat, since we've not been importing rice for quite a long time, for instance. Now, what do you think needs to be done in this direction, in trying to see to it that the ordinary farmer on the farm boosts his yield and get things done as far as farming is concerned, so that his own input will make up for the ones we need in order to get this country moving food-wise, talking about food security?
Well, I think the thing a farmer can do is, one, to appreciate that there is a huge market. There's a huge demand for agricultural produce. No matter what you produce in this country, there's a market for it. Now, so all of us, farmers, should endeavor to maximize production. To maximize production. If you are producing maybe, just for example, 1 ton of any commodity, maize, rice, millet, sorghum, or say yam, potato, or any categories of vegetables. Once you know what you have been producing over time, you must endeavor to try to increase that level of production. If every one of us can do it, it will help boost the macroeconomics to start with, because that's the lowest level, to help boost economic, and it will ensure a continuum of food for every one of us. The price will come down, but because the quantity has gone up, economics of scale will see us through. And the demand is always there. And whatever we cannot consume, that is after we've taken what we can take directly, whatever lies in excess, we can push out, we can export. All right? So the market is there.
At a point, Nigeria was exporting yam. I don't know what is really happening at the moment. You are a yam farmer.
Well, honestly, again, it's a long story. But what there is when I was privileged to serve as governor of Nasarawa State, I traveled out. I was invited to. I was invited to the what do you call it? Her Majesty's annual agriculture show in the UK. They call it Royal Agri Show.
Okay.
And I went with some prominent Nigerians, ministers, leaders of all houses of Nigeria, like Admiral Inyako, Dr. Shetima, Chief Koka, and the like. And I was invited, of course, as some governors. I was not the only governor, some governors that were there. We were invited naturally to the Nigerian Pavilion, the Ministry of Trade. Made sure that they sponsored an exhibition in the show. And so I was invited. We were invited to the pavilion, the Nigerian Pavilion. Immediately we got into the pavilion. To the immediate right, as you enter from the entrance, to the immediate right, on the shelf, first shelf as well, is palm wine being displayed there from the products of Nigeria. Yes, I will be dishonored to say Nigerians don't consume palm wine, but the show is not about palm wine. It's not about alcohol. If you are showing how much you are producing, what do you call it, palm wine from agricultural production point of view, I will appreciate that. But I think somebody was cheeky, if you permit that word, was cheeky to show, to bring down the name of our country, the image of our country, on an international show like a royal show, and be displaying palm wine. But that was not all. When I moved further, because I didn't challenge them, I didn't want headline with your palm wine, so I stomached that. I went a little further, and on the same side, I saw a shelf that had yams, Nigerian yam.
And that was when you see the yam.
All right.
Anyway.
And then when I saw the yam, it's a Nigerian yam, knowing I come from the yam producing areas of Nigeria, I couldn't believe myself. That is what Nigeria would put on display at a Royal International Show in the UK, as a yam. I tell you, the yam I saw was probably not bigger than this. And you need to see the back. You just wonder, whoever brought that to the show, what impression was he trying to give of Nigeria? What impression was he trying to sell to the world of Nigeria? I couldn't hold myself on that one. I went pow. And I said, hey, gentlemen, are you a Nigerian? He said, yes. And this, you're bringing us Nigerian yam? He said, yes. Which part of Nigeria has this? And you know what? He looked at me and said, it's from Nasarawa.
He didn't even know you there.
Well, if he knew I was a governor of Nasarawa State, then it was a deliberate affront.
Yeah.
If he didn't know, it shows he didn't know who were coming to the exhibition from Nigeria. And he succeeded. I got hit with it. I said, well, I don't believe this is from Nasarawa. I am the governor of Nasarawa State, and I know we have the biggest yam market in Nigeria because we are the biggest producer of yam, or one of the biggest, if you permit for modesty, one of the biggest states where yam is produced, and I know this cannot be. If it is, you deliberately chose this to embarrass us. I left it there. But when I was doing this, I was irked by the fact that I know as a fact that when you go to Shepherd's Bush, it's a market, in the market there, you see yam, good yam. And when you see yam, they're labeled, say Ghana yam, Ghana yam. And I said to myself, if you know Ghana, if you know what they produce, Ghana yam has never been a major producer of yam. I know as a fact that Ghanaian market women and men come to Lagos or go to areas like Abuja or wherever and buy Nigerian yam. They go there because you don't need any processing. You just, it's packaging. They just package it and they call it Ghana yam. It's Nigerian yam. So I was wondering how a public officer who is paid for the Nigerian treasury will do that kind of thing for Nigeria. So I decided, along with those who felt as bad as I did, to say, look, we will organize a show to promote Nigerian agricultural produce also. We agreed and we came and initiated. And I was willing to foot the burden of starting agriculture in Nigeria. Because during the military, what we were getting was trade fair. And the trade fair was virtually promoting, ready-made. It's like they take the raw material from here, produce whatever they want, and bring it back to us here, finished product. And that's what we were producing, we were exhibiting in Nigeria. So I said, we'll do now raw material agriculture. Because agriculture does two things. It produces commodity for industry and commodity for human consumption. So we started one. And when I came, I wanted to say, Obasanjo, in fairness to him, Obasanjo was the president. He supported the idea. And he gave us all the support. And when we had the first exhibition, Obasanjo left everything he was doing and attended it himself personally. I was more than impressed with that. That has remained one of the real good areas that I always think about what he did to agriculture. So we started organizing our show here. And I think as of last year, because of COVID, we couldn't do it. But as of last year, as of the previous year, we had organized 12 shows. 12 shows successfully. And we are now thinking of how to diversify the show itself.
But do we really have enough to export in this country?
No. See, the problem we are having is we are more Catholic than the Pope. All right? I believe very strongly that we can produce enough to eat and still have some to spare for the international market. Okay. I believe that very strongly. The resources, human, is there. We have the manpower, we have the environment is conducive, we have the land. Up to about 45%, if not 50%, of arable land is lying fallow in Nigeria, as I talk to you today. So we can double our efforts, we can double our production, we can put double what we are doing now of land to use for agricultural production. Nothing another stuff. It's just the planning. We need to address the issue of planning. There are some good farmers that don't have land. Even these peasant farmers, small farmers, some of them are not on their land. They are land that is held through feudal holdings and what have you. And there are parts of this country, as I talk to you, a farmer will produce, and the percentage of what is producing goes to the owner of the land. Till today, unfortunately. So we need, as this administration has been talking about wanting to, we need better land administration that will promote the agricultural production that we are yearning for, that we are looking for. We have to do it. We have to do it.
Are there policies or rather are there intentions of doing that, talking about lawmaking now? Because the laws have to be there, as you said, in order for the action or the policy to really be driven properly.
See, there is what you need law to do, and there is what you need to administer the existing law. to make it applicable in a manner as to promote public interest.
Right.
Okay? What am I saying? You have Decree 27 is being incorporated in 1979 into the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria during the Constitutional Review. So you cannot touch it unless you amend the Constitution. But there are other bylaws, all right, that is a matter of state administration of the law. It's a matter of how do you make it possible for a farmer who is in need of their need of land to have land. He doesn't have more than probably half an acre. And if you go to rural areas, a farmer who has got 1 whole acre, 1 whole hectare is a big farmer. But if he had bigger land, he can have bigger production. So that's the point I'm making. And I believe that state administrations should be in a position to help in this regard. Yes.
All right. Now, before we close this chapter on
And local government.
and local governments for sure, before we close this chapter on agriculture and farming, do you see, that yam business and cassava business being resuscitated for export in this country in the near future?
Well, honestly, I personally have that ambition, but I believe I'm not alone in this. Nigerians do have, but we have to sharpen our export promotion, so that you will see they can help you know and understand what it is you need to do to export. There's not much of propagation. I'm sorry to say this. There's not much of propagation. I know companies that want to export. And I do know also that the inhibitions for that export are so much, the handicaps, and there is a yearning gap to be filled to make potential exporters not only understand but appreciate what they need to do at particular points in time. All right, if you see that NAFDAC is involved with export of food in the ports, quarantine service involved. There's conflict going on between NAFDAC and quarantine service. There's problem with customs, and these are all government agencies. Why can there be no harmonization to make the effort of an exporter a little more friendly? Why would you want to take yam out of this country? And you are like, when I promoted it, it been done as a governor. It was all my personal business, but we promoted it, and it was successful. Why is it now that you get yam to Lagos or any fresh commodity to Lagos, and it will rot there and not get cleared for export in time? Why? Or why is it that some 4 years back, the European Union collectively agreed that they won't import certain commodities from Nigeria because of the way we are packaging, the way we are bagging, and the materials we are bagging with, and the rest of it. And up till this point in time, no step known to us has been taken to ensure that that problem is solved. And that's why, because we're not doing it properly, we're leaving it to what do you call them? These illegal people who get involved with illegal export businesses or import businesses, because government agencies have not been able to work in harmony among themselves. And those Sherlockses that are too daring, knowing the loopholes, knowing the crack points, are exploited. We are talking of zero export. No, there's still some element of import of rice in this country. It's not 100% yet, but we made substantial progress, no doubt about it. And there is increase also in production and processing in Nigeria too. I agree with that totally. But as we talk, there are people in this country who still feel if they don't eat foreign rice, they will die. That's the greatest misfortune we face. It is a sign of they have arrived.
Some kind of status symbol.
To have rice from India, or from Thailand, or from Germany. The UK, of course, you're taking we used to be their colony. So maybe that's a residual colonial mentality in some of us. But it's amazing how a Nigerian is not proud of what to produce. And for your information, some of the agricultural produce that we're talking about, ours are richer. If you buy Nigerian rice, you will hardly see a Nigerian rice that will be anywhere in the store for more than a year. In Nigeria, produced in Nigeria. I don't know. But some of these rice we are crazy for, that is important to this country. They have been in their warehouses or depots for 4, 5, 10 years. It's probably in their reserve. They don't have need for it again. It's not good for their consumption, and they throw it. And then our own so-called businessmen that know these loopholes will go and get it and just arrange for ship. That's the only cost to them is to shipping, to bring it to this country and bag it. And we're crazy that we're eating we're eating rice. Take frozen chicken. Why would you go and buy chicken? You don't know which year, which month it was slaughtered. Well, you can go to the market here and take a live chicken, bring it to your house, slaughter it there. We have our priorities wrong. We don't get our priorities right, unfortunately. So the issue of export, yes, is still there. We will support it, and we will urge various agencies of government that have got roles to play in promoting the export to play their roles properly.
That is what I wanted to ask you, talking about oversight function of the National Assembly in this regard. You asked why and why so many of these whys were there from the agencies and the rest of them, especially talking about export. How far has the National Assembly gone in trying to see to it that these whys are answered, these questions are answered in this regard? Because the agencies should be oversighted.
Well, every agency has got oversight, no doubt about that. All right? Also, agricultural sector is just one of the many. All right? We have something in the region about 40-something committees, 47 committees or so. 67 committees or so, in the Senate alone. Now, when you oversight, the best you can do if you see something that is requiring some correction is to point it out, make your report to the Assembly, and it is sent to the appropriate agency of government. All right? You have no power of hiring, so you have no power of firing. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If you can't, they will look at you as a troublemaker. They show as a troublemaker, he don't come. And the one that I commend in government, sometimes in the year 2017, 2018, we saw glaring threats to our economy by imports. Poultry farmers are complaining of import, egg. I was amazed to find even vegetable, and the counters of some of these so-called multinational stores. ShopRite.
Imported into
Imported. They bring vegetables from South Africa and maybe Holland or that kind of stuff. They bring vegetable to this country. Vegetable to this country. All right? It's a shameful thing to talk about. And so we couldn't but have executive sessions, invited all people that were involved. Agencies that are supposed to be involved. And we sat for 4 days in Abuja until we came out with a position paper that we channeled through to the president on the harm that doing us through our illegal visiting through our borders. And the federal government took steps, and I commended Buhari's government on this. And it has reduced compared to what it used to be. The importation has reduced. It's still there, it's still there. And you'll be surprised with the closure of the border. Some Nigerians were complaining about the closure because they make their living there.
From there, yeah, sure.
They make their living on the illegality.
There was a lot of noise about
that. And this is the noises you hear are from the mouths or pockets of, what do you call them? People who abuse the border.
Okay, the smugglers.
The smugglers, yes.
Right.
It's from them. Either coming from their mouth, criticizing government, or from their pockets, financing publications against them. Yeah. The government is doing this to promote the interests of the country. They don't see it that way because it doesn't serve the interests of their pockets. So they criticize government. The sense of patriotism is shallow, unfortunately, if any.
It's terribly unfortunate. Oh, well, in case you are just joining us, the program is Reflections, and we're reaching you from the Nigerian Television Authority. We've been discussing with Senator Abdulahi Adamu, a full-time, real-time farmer, and of course, a politician of note. Why not stay back for more on this program? You're welcome back. Let us now look at your governorship tenure. So some few things in them I really want us to talk about. 1999 to 2007. When you're talking about London, first thing that came to my mind is the Queen Elizabeth II and her visit to Karu here in Nasarawa State. One wonders how that one could be, all the way from London to a small place in Nigeria called Karu. You as a governor, what really happened? How did it happen?
Well, in all honesty, it was circumstantial. The Commonwealth of Nations was having one of their scheduled summits of heads of government and heads of states. And it was the time for Nigeria to host the Commonwealth. And this was during President Obasanjo's tenure. And naturally, the Queen being the head of the Commonwealth, would enjoy seeing her former colony. If you recall, she had visited this country before as Queen. Her sister has been here, so there was another family. It was always a pride to have them here. So the federal government organized an event to show majesty at its best. And that would have been, it was supposed to be a Durbar to be held in Kano for her royal visit, for her royal highness. She would take time off from the summit of Commonwealth heads of government and state to go to Kano for the show. To get one visit outside Abuja. That was the whole idea. Unfortunately, at the time, the issue of Sharia and these Hizbah outfits were just in their infancy. And there were a lot of misgivings that took they took the security aspect, take the shine off the security requirement for that kind of visitation, state visitation. And when the federal government could not be sure of the security situation in Kano at the time, they did not want to put the Queen's visit, the head of the Commonwealth that was in Nigeria, they didn't want to put her visit to disrepute. They don't want either to divert attention to some negativities if something should happen. They don't want to take a chance. So the federal government was smart, quickly. They must do something, arrange something different. So a small state in the neighborhood of the Federal Capital Territory called Nasarawa State was willing. Bring her.
You were personally
Yes, yes. Bring her. We will do whatever you want us to do. So they said, okay, will you gather a Daba? I said, no. I'll be honest with you, I cannot mobilize the number of horses and riders that Kano will do. So I won't go into that. So another thing. So it's okay. We'll get back to you tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And after I was okay, can you establish a typical Nigerian market? A typical Nigerian market that you go to any rural area of this country, say this is a traditional market where all the activities of buying and selling, negotiation and things like that will be taking place for her to see, or she can be part of it. I say, yes, I can do it. I could do it. You will? I say, yes. It's okay. So in order not to take a long journey into the state, I said the first local government that's the immediate neighbor of Abuja, the gateway to Nasarawa, is Karo. So I decided with my team in government, once the federal government says what they want, okay, we now brought a proposal. We'll set it out in Karo. From Abuja to Karo. She will drive for maybe just about 10-15 minutes. She will be there, she will be in Karo. So she will go off the main road. So we're willing to build a new road from that to the secretariat of the local government. All right. And it happened at the time the Muslims were building a mosque. Sheer coincidence of time, of events. And then she was going to go there. So in order to make sure there's no wahala, the Christians will want to also be seen there. So I decided I agreed the government will build a church for them and will help the Muslims upgrade the one that they were building so that there will be a church and there will be a mosque. No wahala. We did it. And then we set up a market. Anything that you go to any Nigerian market,
rural market for them.
rural market, you will have it there. The old women were there. They were even plaiting. You know, in the market, like they do in the market, women. They were doing akara, frying akara, they doing masa. The butchers were there, their tables with raw meat, the fish, dry fish, fresh fish, farm produce like yam and vegetables and what have you, were all out there. And we took a walk, and there was a school for adult education. We set up a school there, So she was more than impressed. She was more than impressed. I still have her letter. When she got back, she wrote me a letter. I appreciate it. And when she listened to my welcome address, her Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time, somebody, Jack, I think it sounds Jack. He was a member of Parliament, he was a Minister for Foreign Affairs, Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Jack Straw. Yes. Again, when we were working with her, after my address and after we finished the education, pavilion and the rest of it, she talked to him and he turned to me and was asking me, where did I go to school? I feel good. And then I told him, he didn't hear me mention UK, because that's the home of English. So I said to him, after I finished the way he told her back and then he gave back to me. I said, well, maybe you should tell her that I'm locally grown.
It's a local breed, this one. Yeah.
So I liked it. All our people liked it. Our traditional rulers were there in their color, and she shook hands with each one of them, each one of our traditional rulers. Yes.
Let's connect that to some royalty back home. You were the Sarkin Yaki Kefi. And of course, you are the Turaki Kefi now.
Yes.
Now, this royalty of a thing, these traditional titles you've gotten, and the tradition we have in this country, traditions, are, the custodians, they are the custodians of what we are as a people, the culture, the embodiment of our culture. Do you see the traditional institutions having some role to play in the political setup of this country vis-a-vis the ongoing constitutional reform?
Let me tell you, I believe very strongly, and this is not just now, all through my life. And since I had the opportunity of serving as a governor, and now subsequently as a senator, I have been consistent that unless and until we give traditional institutions its due role in government, we shall fail. The failure will continue to stare us in the face. All this security thing we're talking about, major part of it is the collapse of traditional rulership. It's a collapse. There's nobody at the grassroots. You build security from bottom up. You don't build security from bottom. It's bottom up. And at the bottom are the traditional rulers. It's an institution. They have lived over the years. They have weathered the weather. The white man, when he came here to colonize us, after everything was said and done, he saw that he could not, or they could not, rule this country successfully without the involvement of these traditional institutions. They left them. If anything, they even empowered them. In fact, while the colonial people, they had executive powers. With time, that was taken away. With time, executive was taken away. And that is not enough. The 1999 Constitution, amendment 1999 Constitution, took out of the Constitution anything. The indefinite Article A, if it was referring to anything, traditional institution, is removed. It's not the Constitution. Not tackle even the definite Article the. We destroyed, through that act of removing them from the Constitution completely, we destroyed the history of this country. We destroyed the governance at the appropriate level of governance, the grassroots level. We destroyed it. I keep saying this, and sometimes some of the young people think I'm talking against them, but I'm not. The fact of the matter is, no matter which angle you come from, if something goes wrong today, the governor will come here. He will first go to the Emir's palace.
A courtesy call for the start.
What kind of call? From there, if there are pressing issues, he will discuss with the governor, with the traditional rulers. During political campaigns, when we go around, we go to the traditional rulers, go to their palaces, and they receive us, and we make all manner of promises to them. will restore their dignity, will give their offices, and the rest will give them roles and what have you. No one of them were elected, they don't do it. I stood my ground for the traditional institution, and I still do. And I have no apology for this. And I'm not doing this because I'm the Traki of Kefi. No. I was doing it before I became even the Sarkinyaki. All right? Which I inherited from my father. It is a belief I have. Because you cannot talk of governance, and a very, very important institution of governance is wished away. It's wrong. I have initiated way back I think in the 7th Senate, 7th National Assembly, a move. The main thing was they didn't want to share executive powers with the traditional institution. That's all. They didn't want an emir to have a constitutional provision that protects his office to the extent of his intervening or interfering with executive decisions. They didn't want it.
They solely want some monopoly.
Yeah. They didn't want the emirs involved. And the fact of the matter is, if you take our current situation, where most of these emirs and chiefs are educated in the full meaning of education, they have had experience of working. If they were in the military, some of them were generals in the military, inspectors generals, the police, captains of industry, bankers, what have you. They're there. Everywhere you go. As traditional rulers. They're educated. And then you have a Jaf who has just come into politics. Use maybe the emir or to win his election. Or the emir had a say, and he's probably not even had his first marriage in life. When I say first, because I'm from the north, we marry more than one wife. So I say first marriage, that's the beginning. He has not been married. And the essence of that expression from my mind is, when you are married, then you know how to manage a family. Because the family is the smallest unit. Social unit, the smallest. All right? When you are married, when you are single, you are nobody. But when you are married and you have a child or two and the rest of it, then okay, you begin to talk of a unit, a family. You know what it is to go to the market, or to send someone to go to the market. You know what it is to feed your home. You know what it is to take care of your members of the family's health requirements. You know what it takes to educate a child. All right? You have these basics, traits for maturity, for growth. It's not your ability, you have grown up, you can see a girl, you can embrace her and romance her, say, I love you. That's not adulthood. That's not. To be a complete adult is, yes, you can manage a home that you are the head of that family. All right? Some of the guys that are given the responsibility, elected to become chairmen of local government or speakers at local government level, have hardly had their first marriages, hardly know what it is to manage a home. I say with due respect. So they come, and then if they have an 80-year-old traditional ruler, or 75-year-old, or 60-year-old, 65-year-old, who has been a bank chief executive, who has been a general in the Nigerian Army, who has a PhD in education pursuit, who has been a dean of faculty, or even a vice chancellor. All right? Now he comes, and the guy who has hardly had the SSC as a qualification. We call them secondarians. Beyond secondary school, you couldn't go any further. Few of them are graduates now. But that's where life starts. So how come that guy in the protocol of government is ahead of the traditional ruler.
That's what the Constitution provides.
Yes. So that is where we have conflict in governance today, in our system of governance. And then, of course, because people don't know, they just come. They have there's some problem. There's an emergency. They will come to their palaces. Here, our fathers, royal fathers. Here, this and that, or maybe have a council of chiefs and the rest of it. But we have no power at all. I sought, and I have the bill that aims at establishing a national council of Nigerian traditional rulers. Because I know those who are ruling have a terrible allergy for executive functions for the traditional ruler. Let them be advisory. Let them be advisory. If you have a budget for local government, let it be a matter of duty for the local government to show the traditional ruler who is the chairman of the traditional council and his council. This is our budget for the year 2021. Let him comment. Let him make an observation. Oh, if you do this, if you stop that, if you do this, it will have so outcome. There's nothing wrong with that. And ditto, state governments too.
Do you see them being included in the ongoing constitution?
Muhammadu Buhari supports it, and he supports it. Has made pronouncement to that effect. And the current chairman of the National Assembly, distinguished Senator, Senate President Ahmed Lawal, PhD, he supports it. And then the committee and the Constitution, I'm a member. Constitution Committee. We as a committee, we support it genuinely, and I have reason to believe that I think the forces that are for the amendment this time will overcome, and we will have that amendment by the grace of God.
Oh, that's great. On a final note, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, one, let me start, before I answer the questions, thank God for making it possible for me to live this far, to live this long, and to have given me the opportunity to be of service to my country and to my people. And one thing that I want to be remembered for is that I have tried when I had the opportunity to do so in the course of my life, to improve the well-being, the welfare of those I am privileged to be with. I want to be remembered for being an anchor in my society, or in our society, that has identified people who are weak and who has done whatever was possible to help them gain some strength or to give their life some polish. I want to be remembered for this. I will work for this. For whatever is left of my life, I will work along this line to improve the life the best I can of my neighbor. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We really have to thank you so much, too, for being part of this program this week. It's been Reflections with Senator Abdulahi Adamu. We've discussed a whole range of ideas that were missing in our earlier part of the first part we had with him. Why not join us next week for another edition of Reflections? On behalf of the Senator and, of course, my crew here, I am Yusuf Nadab Usman saying, stay safe. Coronavirus is real. Bye-bye.